thought I had to be one of those chosen or born into it. I am blind. And then I also have hearing loss. God ain't looking out for me. The more open I am and the more beautiful the experiences are. Somebody didn't want to answer the question. I knew the answer. The knowing and looking at the sky and picking up the information somehow.
Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Medium's Table. I'm your host, Michelle Gardner. This podcast is your personal invitation to join me at the intersection of the everyday and the extraordinary. Together, we'll explore the magic of mediumship, share spiritual stories, and connect with fellow mediums on this incredible journey. So grab a seat, pour yourself a cuppa, and come join us at the Medium's Table, where spirits gather and stories unfold. On today's show, I would like to welcome longtime friend, inspiring and incredible medium, Kim Liddell. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Well, thank you, Michelle. That was very nice of you to invite me.
You're most welcome. Now, we've known each other for quite a few years and we've seen each other grow and prosper, and I can safely say, hands down and confidently, that you are a fantastic medium. I have seen you work, I've seen you in action, and I am impressed.
Wow, thank you. That touches me, and I'm humbled. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're most welcome. What do you have for us today? Because I know you've had quite an adventurous ride in your lifetime. So what would you like to discuss today on this episode?
I like to talk about spirituality. Well, my spiritualist journey. So
Yeah.
I am an individual who always have been interested in healing, the art of holistic healing, body work, energy, Reiki, the different methods that people use to help promote, healing, rebalancing, recharging the body. And then at the same time, releasing trauma and belief systems that don't belong to them. And then during the pandemic, I one day just had a thought in my head, why don't you check out mediumship? I wonder if there's a group on Facebook that offers, mediumship practice. So I did. And I did that because I felt stagnant during the pandemic, not being able to officially do energy work with people, hands-on. And so there you have it. I am now on the path of mediumship, and, it's just been quite a journey.
And isn't it amazing how you fall into something that you sometimes never expect, and it presents itself when you start looking for it, it presents itself.
Yeah, and it was just a thought, but I actually really believe now that is a clairaudient message from my guide or higher self.
Is mediumship something that you've thought about in the past? Like, have you ever thought in the past, oh, geez, I'd love to be a medium, or have those thoughts ever come to your mind?
I never thought I was a medium. I didn't think I was on the path to be a medium. I thought I had to be one of those chosen or born into it. And but I always believed in it. I was fascinated with it. I knew mediums existed, so I was always all into that.
Yeah, wow. And do you have a lot of support with your family and friends now that you're a medium?
Actually, I do. And I'm past that point now where I don't worry about what they think. And I do have their support. They just like to see me, they want me to be successful. They are supporting me. And, now when I share tidbits of this and that, of what has happened, in readings. They're like, wow. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so am I, like, wow, did I do that?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. During before you became a medium, during your childhood, throughout your life, did you ever have experiences that you can now look back on and think, oh, that was signs back then, or I was already hearing, or I was already seeing things, or I was already, having those mediumship experiences? Can you reflect back and think about, was that ever a case during your life before you actually chose to become, or you decided to become a medium?
Not a whole lot, actually. But I think the one thing that I did have as a child was being empathic.
Mm,
But I didn't read. Other than that, it's just very few, if any, right? I
mm,
mean, there was one time when I was playing with my friends, and I was really young. I was probably 10 or 11 years old.
mm.
And somebody says, oh, I wonder what time it is. And I remember looking at the sky and cocking my head, and I say, it's 11 o'clock. So we all ran in, and it was 11 o'clock. That was a one time, um, feedback that I had that there was something there, right?
Yeah.
Just the knowing and looking at the sky and picking up the information somehow. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was a funny thing.
Wow. So you mentioned the word empathic. Describe what that might be for listeners who think, what does empathic mean?
Sensing and feeling in your gut area. And I think what I was experiencing was if I got a yes answer, I was getting a no answer. So, or if I got a no answer, I got, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Or if somebody didn't want to answer the question, I knew the answer,
yeah.
in my gut, and it was all emotional feelings,
Mm,
but I didn't at that time, how would I know? I mean, as a child, nobody discussed ghost and mediumships and near death experiences. It just wasn't a topic. I did not become aware of any of that until I was 19 years old, and I saw a catalog in the mail
mm,
that offered to sell books and audio cassettes and you know different forms of writing that
mm,
talked about all of reincarnation, um, healing,
mm,
mediumship, etc.
mm-hmm. Now you live in America, you live in Chicago,
I
and
do.
I'm in Australia.
Nice.
How would you say mediumship is uh, taken on or accepted over in Chicago where you live? Because I do understand from talking to different people that some areas can be quite religious and strong in their beliefs, and it's not always openly accepted. How is it where you are?
Well, there is a large, strong spiritualist church, in Chicago on the north side. And I hear, it's going strong. I've never been there. I would love to go there one day, just to visit and to meet other people, with the same philosophy,
Mm,
right? And the spiritualist belief. I find that yes, there are some people that are open-minded to it and others that are not. So I actually pick and choose whom I openly share this with. And
mm,
maybe and I do that because I'm protecting myself, right? I don't want to hear, right,
yeah,
negative, or feel negative feelings from them about it. So I think intuitively, intuitively,
yeah.
I pick and choose whom I share with, and then there's been a couple times people say, "Oh, okay, that's interesting," and then that's it. That's fine.
Mm, mm, mm. Because it's varied opinions, isn't it, out there in the in the real world, we could say. I mean, that's that's something that is varied in different mediums, what's real and what's not real. When we talk spirituality and we start talking spirit worlds and the real world, but it can be a hot topic around some people. I do completely understand what you're saying. Now, you actually have a different type of, I'm going to say, ability to other people. Did you want to talk about that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, for those of you that do not know, I am blind, and when I say blind, I have light perception. So I don't see anything except for light. So I'm blessed to have the ability to still tell that it's daytime or the sun has set. And then I also have hearing loss. So I do wear hearing aids.
Mm,
Yeah, so I I'm considered to have Usher syndrome, which falls under retinitis pigmentosa, and
hmm
it's something that I was genetically born with, and then over time, the hearing loss was always there all my life, and then in my teenage years, it was noticeable that I didn't see in the dark, and in the peripheral vision was narrowing,
mm,
per se, right? Getting smaller and
yeah.
smaller,
Mm,
and then, so, now, of course, when I hit 40, I went blind.
mm, yeah. And I'm just going to say that I am absolutely amazed, and I find it inspiring that regardless of your disabilities, what you've achieved. It just, every time we speak, every time I meet with you on Zoom, I am just in awe of how much you accomplish, even in your everyday life and the things that you do. It's just incredible. What would you say to others who may be in a similar situation to you or have disabilities and think, I can't be a medium because I can't see, or I can't be a medium because I can't hear? What would you say to these people?
I say take one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
All of the things that I have achieved didn't happen overnight. It takes
Mm,
time, just take one step at a time. If you got to do five things to achieve the ultimate goal, do step one, and then achieve that, right? And then do step
mm,
two, and then achieve that. So for example, let's say somebody wants to use the computer, and the iPhone to connect socially with others, right? Well, maybe they don't have computer skills. Well, get the computer skills so that you
mm,
can do that, and if you have to do it with adaptive equipment, or software, do it.
mm, mm.
There is usually somebody there to help and support, where they're the way, they're the will. You just
Mm,
got to have the determination.
yeah. And when you started learning mediumship, did you find that there were any setbacks in being able to learn or study with a mentor or in a program?
Um, yes and no. So I do have assistive software,
Mm-hmm.
and devices, so I have that. But sometimes a software might be 95% accessible and there might be one link that's not accessible, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
that's on the programming, the software designer that creates that. So, but it's come a long way, so a lot of time things do work well, but sometimes it doesn't. Like this
Mm.
morning, I was pulling my hair out trying to get my screen reader to work with, my email program. It was just like, oh my gosh, so I was getting frustrated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the great news is it didn't hold you back and you were able to learn successfully what you needed to start your mediumship journey, essentially.
Definitely. I'm here, right? I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm just so amazed at where I'm at. And I'm just so amazed that, I find it funny as a teenager, I did not believe in God. I felt like God ain't looking out for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no God. And then now I'm at that point where, I do believe in God and I do believe in, after death communication. And I think it's beautiful. And and I also want to point out, something else on my journey of the spiritualist. And I realized that physically on earth here, I have a real guide dog. And I think of her as my beautiful spiritual soul dog, right? On the other side,
Yeah.
assisting me here. And I'm like, and I thought, oh my gosh, if I can trust her completely, I need to be able to completely trust my spirit guide, or spirit guides, in God. I need to be able to do that. And that way, you know, the more I shed fear and doubts, the more open I am and the more beautiful the experiences are. So, like trusting my guide dog, I have wonderful walks, going around obstacles and, and safe and being safe while I'm doing it. And then on the other side, trusting my guide, that's my goal is to trust him more and more
Yeah.
and to, that's faith. That's faith right there as a
Yeah.
spiritualist.
Oh, 100%. It certainly is. It's just having that full trust and faith in your spirit team. And like you say, and a great metaphor, and actually, and you're actually living the experience of fully trusting your guide dog. And I must say, you've done some incredible work as well. Like I said, I've seen you work, and obviously your disability hasn't held you back. Do you find that because you used to be able to see when you were younger, is that correct? That's correct, isn't it?
That is correct.
Do you find now that you're doing mediumship, you're using other senses more so than others to bring information or like you've honed your skills around other senses to communicate and bring through messages?
Yes, I do believe that. And I think it also helps. I don't want to say that I have more of it than you. I think we all have equal amounts of access to these senses. But because of my disability, I'm using it more
Yeah.
often, right? And
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
hmm And
Yeah.
I also am so grateful that I did have vision so that I can say, wow, I see, yellow flowers, right? I see, so I can identify. I'm so glad I've had the experiences of seeing, a blue car, red flowers, right?
Yeah.
High mountains, that are rocky, to be able to see that and recognize that in my third eyes.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And realistically, it's such a gift, isn't it, that you've been able to have that experience in this lifetime, considering, how far you've come today. Kim, is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners?
Um, if you ever do see me and my guide dog, and her name is Rebecca, please don't call her name. And if you do say hello, please identify yourself. Well, hello, Kim, I am so and so. It is so helpful, and it's courtesy. And
Yeah.
God bless.
Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your stories today, Kim. Where can people find you?
askmediumkim.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I am on Facebook and Instagram. And I do have a blog. Once in a while, I put an article out, a short article.
Fantastic. And you take clients for readings as well. Is that right, on your website?
Yes.
Okay, Kim, thank you so much for being on the show. And we look forward to having you back again very soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me at the Medium's Table. The universe is always speaking. Listen and let your spirit soar. Curious for more? Click on one of the videos below and remember to subscribe.